this is the a certain time when I have a gig. There's always this moment where I have to sort of like assemble the equipment outside the studio to make sure that it hasn't been too reliant on the studio. In other words, to make sure everything's working, I've got all the power supplies and everything will work completely away from the life support machine that is my studio. So I'm going to set the keyboards up now, and for those people who are interested in this kind of thing, I hope you enjoy it. There's a chance you'll see my bolt patch, maybe a bit of builder's bum as I scrabble around on the floor. If that's not too offensive, I'm going to set the keyboards up. So here are the stands, and let's go. It's going to take quite a while. Here we are. Okay. So this is the sort of main keyboard of the evening, which is a Studio Logic SL73 made by a company called Fatar, who are very good at making weighted keyboards. This is a particularly nice, heavy action grand piano sort of thing. It really busts my wrists when I'm trying to play it fast and everything, but it's great for doing pianos. I have the antithesis to that to go on top, which is a bit faster, but that's coming later. I'd better wire up the pedals and the USB stuff and get this going. So I'll probably speed it up a bit from time to time. Here we go. This keyboard itself doesn't actually make any sound. It's just a controller for the keyboards, for the computer. So all the sounds that this one actually produces are coming from the computer itself. Okay. Some pedals. Now these are from a different keyboard, the one that destroyed itself earlier this year. So control, that's the switch. This is the damper pedal here that I'm dealing with. That goes into number 4. And this will be the modulation switch, which goes into number... Oh heck. Ah yes, it goes into that one. Yeah, there. Of course I could get some of this wrong, because there's no guarantee this is going to be right. Okay, that's those pedals organised, and then we need the big Moog pedal, which my beloved piano stool. Right. Okay, so we're at about the right height there. It's a bit wobbly, and that's because of the floor in this house, but I expect that the stage at Chepstow will be probably even more wobbly, so you just have to like it or lump it. So yeah, that pedal feels to be around about the right place. Those are a bit too far out. Need to get those on the left. Right, that lot should work. Let's hope so. Next up is my Behringer, which is a mini Moog. To all intents and purposes, it's a fully analog working mini Moog. No presets, no fancy stuff, no memories. It's just a live synthesizer, and I play that using both this and the one that's going to go on top. So that usually goes just under there, which very nicely and conveniently wedges under there. Okay, check everything there is all right, it looks to be. Next, and quite important to me personally, is my switching system. I do a lot of switching with my feet, but there are some times when I just can't use my feet and I needed a really fast switch. So this is a Morse code key. You may be able to see at the top of it is an engraving, and the engraving says G0ERN, and I'd call it Golf Zero Echo Romeo November. This is the call sign of a radio amateur, and the radio amateur who previously owned this was called Ernest, and is the man who we wrote our song about in 2006, who's now sadly passed on. I managed to get his Morse key, and I've kept it ever since. I don't do Morse code, so I thought it'd be nice if I used it for something. And a Morse code is just a switch. So I use this to change patches on some of the songs when I can't use my feet. Alright, so I'll put that in now. Move this one just a bit. Yeah, that's about right. C. Okay. This fella here is it's called a Roland V combo. It's basically Roland's equivalent of a keyboard that you see quite a lot, particularly with prog bands, called a Nord Stage. Which has a Hammond organ, a synthesizer, electric pianos built into it. I've gone for the Roland. I think the organ sound on it's really great, so it's a bit cheaper as well, considerably cheaper, but does virtually the same thing. So I'm very happy with it, and that's going to be my other keyboard for the evening. And we'll wire that up now. Of course, we need some form of MIDI to get to the Mini Moog. I call it a Mini Moog. I technically know that some people might argue and say it's not a Mini Moog, but it is. One thing I've forgotten is the fact that this has two MIDI outputs to the system, because it makes more than 16 sounds. It's actually making 32 sounds, which means I need two different MIDI outputs to address them. So here's a second MIDI output from it, which is sort of like 16 to 32, if you like. I'm now starting to think there's something missing. Oh no. Oh yes, I've got to have an output from that, of course, because this actually makes its own sound, so they've got to go back into the system and get mixed in with it. So all of which means that very soon we are going to need an audio interface. This one will do. This is an M Audio M-Track Duo. It's at the remarkably cheap piece of equipment, but absolutely fabulous what it does. So no complaints here. So that was quite clearly one of the reasons why I do this, to make sure that when I set off I've got all the leads I need to do it, and I didn't have them. So now I have. I still may have to go upstairs again. In fact, I'm almost guaranteed to have to. That's the audio interface. we should have the other one running now. Yeah, okay. So we've got no sound and we won't have for a little bit. The most important part of the whole thing, of course, is the computer. We're back in. Okay. Let's just do it the old way. I'll try that a bit later. So I'm now loading up my software. This is Nuendo by Steinberg. Quite a lot of guys use the things like Main Stage or Gig Performer. The audio driver could not be loaded straight away. We're in. This is spoiler alert. Anything from now on could include hints as to what we're playing at the gig. So if you are coming to the gig on the 1st and you're watching this before that gig happens and you don't want to know what we're playing, then please stop watching now and watch it after the gig's over. But from now on, I don't suppose you'll be able to see this little thing down here, but it starts saying names, and the things I'm likely to play are the kind of things that we're actually going to be doing. So yeah, it might not work for you. So there we go. Go in here, switching it off. Okay, so that's working. Right, so there are definitely some little things I need to do now, which will give a game away. So, and they probably make mistakes and all sorts because I'm sorting things out. But here are a few things. This is a particularly interesting sound here, which is essentially made up of 4 different sounds. There's a piano on here, there's a mellotron on here, there's a Selena string synthesizer on here, and there's an organ on here. And I use them as a kind of like a variable arrangement. They're all playing mostly on the keyboard all the way from top to bottom. The mellotrons don't reach that far because they never did and they never will. The organ is controlled by a swell pedal, so I can fade that in and out. I can fade the mellotron in and out, but slightly more than the organ, so that the mellotron can disappear while the organ is still there. But the mellotron doesn't trigger unless I hit the keys hard enough for it to trigger. So the result of being that I can get something like this. I can have this sound, which is... There's a Selena in the background, there's an organ. Again, my pedal's working. That's my Leslie going in and out. There's also a piano there. And I can go just to the piano. And fade in the organ. And bring the mellotron in with a nice crash. So that gives me quite a lot of versatility for this particular sound, which is for the verses of a song, which goes like... a sleeping mass, you see though from afar. One last chance. And that's just one sound. Of course, there's quite a few in that particular song. There's one that's for the verses. Then there's one for a kind of ballady section that we have, which just a very quiet lower manual organ with a bit of piano. Believe it or not, I've been there too, etc., etc. I've walked the same precipice as you, and then it reaches, but I can't feel you. That's because we've got a mellotron on the bottom half of the keyboard, still just piano up here, mellotron down there, and I can't tease you. You're lost in a dream, blah 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 blah, and that's that goes on, and up on the top we've got the various other things that we need, like of course we need and we need that to turn into means I've just got to keep on the synthesizer and the organ are happening together on that particular sound, so I'm going but if I take my foot off the pedal I don't get synth. So of course I am to sort of like when I'm doing these bits I'm getting cramp in my right leg, but that's it. A few important sounds I have. There's another song we're playing, which starts with a composite sound, which we've had knocking about for many years. It starts off with a bit of a string synth going. Maybe you can hear that, and then. So that's all happening on one keyboard. I press the pedal down. So that's what else we done. That composite sound we put back together for the tour that we did in 2012. So that sound's been knocking about for a bit. It's several synthesizers working together to give a kind of sequencer effect. But it works. It gives a kind of sense of motion, but it's great because we don't have to keep in time with it. It just works whatever we're playing. So because we don't play with clicks or anything, we just we're a real band. Just everything. Everything's played by people, and that's it. Good. So that's all working. We've got the difficult bit in that for me, which is this sort of. This chord sequence here where we've got a really nice big brassy sound. It's probably not sounding brassy on a phone, and there's some chorus down the bottom there which you probably can't hear on the phone, but that bit's sort of supposed to, if I can get it right, goes. I honestly don't, if they hadn't made the first UK album, I don't think I'd have done anything. I wouldn't have known what to rip off, but there you go. That's one of the sounds we're using. So it all seems to be working. We're set up. running, and we're going to like we're doing a song here, which is the one that I'm really nervous about. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yes, 14 sections in it, all of which require a completely different set of sounds, plus an enormous amount of lyrics which have to be remembered, and all those patch changes have to be remembered. So down on the floor, the I don't know what you can see, what you can't see. Let me just see what you can see. Well, my Moog expression pedal is sort of, oh gosh, can't work it out. It's sort of there, and underneath that's my main piano. So on this here, that's a sustain pedal, so I can sustain things that sustain, but not everything sustains. Has to be said. So if it's a piano, it will sustain like this. So that's a piano sound, of course. This down here, this one on the left, I use as a kind of modulation switch, which is great for Leslie and synth mods and stuff. Using quite a lot of my signature sounds in this. So I can do the. So this is a sound that uses mellotron, organ, piano, and a bit of brass. And I can. Yeah, the Leslie's going in and out after that, and I can still go. Photos in the box, will I ever walk those streets again? And will I ever see the faces of the people that I love and put my arms around them without fear, without guilt? A bit of the heart comes in there actually as well, which will kind of go now before I just go back into etc. Well, that's the setup of the keyboards for the first time outside the studio. It all worked. It took 49 minutes, but obviously a bit more practice, which I'm going to be having at Luke's house coming up. It's going to be set up there, and I'm probably going to set it up every day to speed myself up. I'll also have a little bit of help at Winter's End. Really looking forward to doing this. It's been a long time since the Tangent played. Some interesting statistics. The last time the Tangent played in England was as part of the Tangecanic band, and the last gig we did was at the Somerset Festival. So we're playing the same stage and the same room as the last time we played in the UK, and that was in 2017. Our plans for gigs were all, of course, completely kiboshed by COVID crisis. We never got as far as announcing our tour, of course everybody else had to cancel theirs. We never got as far as announcing them, so we just had to let it all go. Not only that, but the last time a band called The Tangent played live, and by that I mean not Tangecanic, which of course was the hybrid band formed by the Tangent and Carmacanic. So this is the first Tangent on its own show since more than 10 years ago. So we're quite looking forward to it, and we will be bringing the same musicians as we came with last time, apart from Göran, of course, who is not with, so we're not playing with Carmacanic. Göran will not be with us, and we will miss him because we liked him a great deal. But it's going to be me, Theo, Luke, Jonas. Steve's organised everything down in that part of the world for us, and we'll be joining him next week. So, yeah. I do hope anybody who's coming to see us enjoys it. We're all nervous as hell, but let's hope that for once, my keyboards do the job. They work and they don't break down halfway through the show. It doesn't matter whether I use old stuff, new stuff, or anything. I always seem to be plagued with little things that go wrong. But I've done everything I can to avoid it. Let's hope. Last time we played Summer's End, the keyboards didn't break down at all. They just had a power cut instead. So that's just life. All right, rock and roll. See you soon, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.